touch the piano in my church, Zionville Baptist Church, or any other piano. My mama's sister had a piano, so when we went there to visit, she would let me play with one finger. She taught me to play one verse with 3 fingers, and that just added fire to the flame on my wanting to play the piano. I don't remember the name of the song, but it was a religious song. One Sunday afternoon, when we were having church service, worship service, a stranger came in. When announcements were made, he stood up and told his name, Renus Rich, and that he was a music teacher and also played the piano very well. He asked if we would be interested in having a music school. He would be teaching shape notes, which is now almost a lost art, and it is. Let me stop and say this. You young people ought to be interested in that. They have a singing school out at Kingsport every year for 2 weeks. They teach shape notes, they teach piano, they teach it all. And it's Christian. It's Christian. It's a music camp, they call it. They go down there for 2 weeks. Some of you young people ought to be interested in that. Amen? Our music director, or he would be called now, but then he was a singing leader, stood and asked our congregation how we felt about it. I was too young to vote, or thought I was. I guess I was about 14 at that time, but enough wanted to school, so that he said he would start the next day. We all learned the shape of each note and what the sound of each was. After the school was over, he remained in our area. Some people took music lessons from him. We had so much work to do on the farm that we did not have time to waste on music, or so Daddy thought. Some of you can remember these times. I had 2 sisters, not much younger than I, and we all wanted to play the piano so we could learn to play. Our baby sister was quite a bit younger, and that's just, of course, Sister Dordine. We kept begging Daddy to buy us a piano. He went to Mr. Clyde Mash store at Coal Creek and bought one. I don't remember how we got it home, but it was a very big, old, tall thing. And all of you remember those big, tall pianos. Okay. It was very much out of tune, so Mr. Mash told my daddy about a man who lived in Vanderpool area who was blind, but he did piano tunings. He contacted him for Daddy, and the best I remember, Daddy had to go and get him, brought him to the house to tune our prized possession, our piano. I don't remember Rebecca and Ollie being that interested in playing, but I sure was. It may have been that they were, but I was the oldest, so I may not have let them try their hand. I remember our singing leader at church was our uncle. He told me that all I had to do was play the same thing with both hands. Now listen. I soon found out that that was not the way to play. I did learn the shape of notes at a singing school, and Uncle Kemp tried to show me where they were on the piano, so I learned to play with one hand. I walked to Miss Vera Church in the area, who was a music teacher, and she told me what the keys looked like and where they were on the piano. Some of them I still don't know, but I've been playing at Zionville Baptist Church since I was 16, and now, I have to tell this. I'm 78. Okay. I played for lots of weddings and funerals. Most of my playing is by ear or by natural ear. I play out of hymn books by shape notes. only I cannot read music. Now, we'll go on in just a minute. Listen. I remember the first time I was asked to play at the church when no one else was available. And someone must have told our pastor, the Reverend Victor Trivett, and some of you remember these times, that I was learning to play. When I got up and could only play with one hand, I kept practicing when I had time from all the farm chores we had to do, and eventually learned to play, not like a professional, but enough for our little choir, the church choir. I walked to church at that time as Daddy had no car, and our pastor, Reverend Trivett, and Mrs. Trivett came along and asked if I would play for a quartet to sing on the local radio station at Boone, North Carolina, WATA. I wasn't afraid, so I did this for some time. When my daughter Sandra was old enough to take music, we enrolled her with Ms. Lillian Kent. She pounded music in her 3 or 4 years when her house burned and she was out of teaching for some time. When she was able to return to teaching, Sandra did want to go back to her, and I felt it would be a waste of time. Later I found at different times to different teachers who taught her how to play. When we both quit teaching or moved out of town, Sandra knew enough music and how to play that she began to play really well. And I had the church elect her as a new pianist, and I would remain assistant. This still holds true. I play when she is unable to be there. She has been the elected pianist for about 20, 30 years. I never felt that I was a good pianist, but I was given by God a talent. Now listen to this. I was given by God a talent, and I've always tried to use it.
Amen.
That's a good testimony. Every person in this house is given a talent to be used for God in some way. And you ought to be proud enough to use it for His glory. My sister Ollie and Dora both learned how to play, but they didn't practice much, but neither did I. I guess my talent grew until I was confident. As long as I can read the notes, I can figure out the time until I can play. It's very helpful if you have a choir director who knows music and can help with it. Shape notes singing is beautiful, and it is. Not too many people can sing a song or sing the notes until they learn the song. It's very easy for me since that's the way I learned to read music and play. That's a wonderful testimony, Sister Barbara. We're so proud of you.
Thanks.
We are. We're so proud of you. Okay, come up here.
Only got the back of your head set for.
Yeah, that's true.
We have something else that we want to do too.
Appreciate you reading that, but now I didn't know everybody in the country was going to.
That's all right. We have something else the church wanted to do for you. And this is a plaque, a special appreciation award presented to Barbara Ann Wilson for over 60 years of service as our church pianist, Zion Baptist Church. Everybody see that? And by the way, we have another one just like it. We're going to put in the back of the church, but you can take this one home. Okay? You hold that back.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You stand right here a minute. We're going to listen. Some of you
I was
raise your
probably too
hand.
young.
You might want her to tell who all was in the quartet.
Yeah, who all was in the quartet?
Well, of course, Wilton was in it part of the time, and he moved to Greensboro with, Sally, and they had a little girl down there. I'll never forget, we were going to the radio station that morning, and, Wilton got in, he said, I'm daddy this morning. So he was so proud. But anyway, Vernon Castle and Edward and, Miss Trivia, she played part of the time. Edward would sing alto when she wasn't there, and Wilton sang tenor, I think. And-
Fred Castle sing?
Fred Castle.
Yeah, I said Fred and Vernon.
Yeah.
Fred and Vernon. Fred Castle and Vernon, most of the people here know them. Remember, they're both the same. Anyway, I
Well,
appreciate this, but it wasn't necessary. Lord have mercy. I wrote that.
We
I
wanted
thought
to do
Kayla
that.
was gonna make a deed if I didn't give her that.
Sandra, we'd like to get a picture of you with there so we can
We're
get
proud of
it.
her for doing that. We're so proud of her.
We just have,
So
you
I
have to
couldn't get
announce
my
it. You say,
printer
just say
this
it
morning,
loud
and
and then she'll go.
I emailed it to Ollie, and I said, Ollie, Kayla's got to have this, and I can't get it printed out. Will you print one so she brought
We want to get a picture of Sandra with y'all up there too. So,
it? No, I don't know what's happened to it.
Come on, I'll get out of the way, you can come on.
Will you play the piano now too?
Send it here.
I don't like that picture.
I don't either.
Like me, so somebody camera would
No.
Hey,
Okay, is that good? That's good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I couldn't find those records. She gave me her stereo, and they were in the stereo, and I put them up in the garage somewhere, and wanted to, tell me about this. And I looked for them records everywhere. And this week I went out there, and I said, Lord, I've got to look one more time. And there was that Kenny Rogers album, and I thought, I'm gonna look down in there. There was all those records. Kenny wasn't even in there.
hey, let's give her another.